In this video, we won't focus on the athletes who reached the peak of success and fame, but rather on those who suffered fatal injuries. The story of Prichard Colón is one of the most tragic in the world of boxing. Born into a Puerto Rican family, Prichard showed exceptional talent for the sport from a young age. At the age of 10, his family moved to Puerto Rico, where he trained tirelessly, winning championships and dreaming of becoming a world champion. But that dream turned into a nightmare on October 17, 2015. During a fight, Prichard suffered repeated illegal blows to the back of his head, while the referee ignored the situation. After the match, Prichard began showing signs of severe brain damage and was rushed to the hospital, where he fell into a coma. He woke up 221 days later, but the life he once knew was gone. His parents, fighting for justice, faced a legal battle filled with obstacles while holding on to hope and their unwavering love for their son. Prichard's story is not just a testament to the dangers of boxing, but also a poignant reminder of life's fragility and the sacrifice of a family that refuses to stop fighting for him. This is a tribute to Prichard Colón, a young man full of dreams whose life was tragically altered by the sport he loved too soon. If you want to know all the details of his story, I have a video about him on the channel. I'll leave the link in the description. Kevin Randleman, the Monster, was a true icon, and hardcore fans loved him from the start. In fact, it was the fans who gave him that nickname. Everyone knew that when Kevin entered the octagon, you were going to see some serious fireworks. Despite his imposing appearance, Kevin was known to be a humble and kind person. There's lots of evidence of his humility, but what about the most famous incident? One day, Kevin saw a tweet from one of his followers confessing they wanted to end their life. Without hesitating, Kevin reached out to them immediately. First, he sent him a text message, and then he called him. He supported him as if he were a true friend, helping him overcome this emotional burden. In the 1990s, Randleman was involved in brutal Vale Tudo fights in Brazil. He then moved on to the UFC, where he captured the championship in 1997. In the early 2000s, he joined Pride. However, this man had many health issues. A large part of them was caused by regular steroid use in the 2000s. Additionally, he endured numerous injuries that led to over 20 surgeries in his lifetime, gradually weakening his system. But the most serious illness that affected Kevin was Staphylococcus. This disease weakened his immune system so much that he started to literally decompose alive. Actual holes formed in his body, and for obvious reasons, we can't show them in this video. After 5 years of retirement, Kevin Randleman's life came to an abrupt end on the 11th of February 2016. The fighter passed away in a hospital where he had been admitted due to pneumonia. The cause of his death was heart failure. He was only 44 years old. Rest in peace. Magomed Abdulsalamov was a talented boxer who had conquered the world of boxing with his impressive streak of 18 consecutive victories. At 23 years old, he was already a two-time Russian champion and was getting ready to face a powerful Cuban boxer named Mike Perez at Madison Square Garden in New York. On November 2, 2013, will be marked in boxing history as a night full of emotions and tragedy. The fight between Abdulsalamov and Perez promised to be an epic battle, as the winner would have the opportunity to compete for the WS title that was held by Klitschko at that time. The bettors were excited about the clash of two gladiators ready to give it their all in the ring. When the bell rang, both Abdulsalamov and Perez came out without hesitation to face each other. They both would fulfill their promise to deliver a vibrant and exciting spectacle from the very first minute. The punches echoed in Madison Square Garden as the fans remained on the edge of their seats. The fight was intense, and neither boxer gave any quarter. Punch after punch, they gave it their all with fury and determination. Dixie, Magomed's brave wife, and their daughters were in the stands, cheering and supporting him with every move he made. The weight of the world was on Abdulsalamov's shoulders, and he fought with all his might to prove he was worthy of contending for the title. However, as the fight progressed, something unexpected happened. During one of the intense exchanges of punches, Magomed received a terrible blow that caused a traumatic brain injury. Despite being seriously hurt, he fought bravely for the rest of the fight. His courage and determination amazed everyone present at Madison Square Garden. At the end of the fight, Abdulsalamov was rushed to the hospital. The diagnoses were not promising. Magomed suffered a brain injury that would affect his life forever. The doctors fought to save him, but their efforts seemed insufficient against the severity of the injuries. The news shook the boxing world and all those who had followed Abdulsalamov's career. Messages of support and solidarity came from everywhere. For a time, Magomed became a symbol of struggle and bravery, a reminder of the risks that exist in a sport as brutal as boxing. But life went on for Magomed and his family. Although his career as a professional boxer had been cut short, his spirit did not fade. His wife Dixie became his greatest support, and his daughters filled his life with love and joy. Every day, Magomed faces the challenge of living with the aftermath of his injury, but he does so with the strength that defined him. Magomed Abdulsalamov became a symbol of resilience and the power of the human spirit. His story inspired many to value life, to fight despite adversities, and to find strength in the darkest moments. Even though the boxing world may have forgotten him over time, the story of Magomed Abdulsalamov remains alive in the hearts of those who believe in the strength of the human spirit. Many years ago, when mixed martial arts was still in its infancy, the sport was vastly different from what we know today. Fighters often competed in multiple bouts on the same night, only to return to the octagon a month later. One of the notable figures from that era is Gerald Goodridge, a renowned fighter who made his professional debut at the age of 30. His first appearance in the world of combat sports was at UFC 8. However, that doesn't mean his early years were free from constant battles and grueling training sessions. Although Goodridge was often considered a mid-tier fighter, he enjoyed immense popularity and was highly sought after due to his vivid and spectacular performances. Standing an impressive 191 centimeters tall, Gary always brought excitement to the crowd. Throughout his MMA career, he participated in over 40 fights, winning 23 of them. Gary defeated well-known opponents such as Don Frye, Valentin Overeem, Bob Schreiber, and many others. While competing in MMA, Gary also ventured into kickboxing, where he fought in more than 40 bouts. The professional career of Big Daddy, as he was often called, came to an end in 2010, following a streak of 8 consecutive losses. The missed strikes and constant fights began to take a toll on his health. In 2012, doctors diagnosed Goodridge with a degenerative disease, dementia. This condition has caused memory problems, difficulties with speech, and excruciating headaches. Today, Gary Goodridge continues to live in Canada with his loving family, who provide him with constant support during these challenging times. There are moments when Gary can't even remember how to get home. Despite everything, Big Daddy still visits the gym occasionally, helping beginner fighters with their preparation and sharing his wealth of experience. He remains a valuable mentor to those aspiring to enter the world of MMA and kickboxing. The story of Gary Goodridge is one of both triumph and tragedy. His fighting career was fascinating, but the price of relentless blows and constant battles is evident in his health. However, even amidst his struggles, Gary's spirit and passion continue to burn brightly. His dedication and love for the sport have undoubtedly left an indelible mark on the history of mixed martial arts. Byrd was one of the most prominent heavyweights of the 2000s. At the height of his career, he defeated numerous renowned boxers such as Vitaly Klitschko, David Tua, Evander Holyfield, and many others. One could even say he was the Floyd Mayweather of the heavyweight division. In addition, he won a silver medal at the Olympics and made history as the first boxer to earn a medal in one weight class and later conquer the world championship in another. In other words, at the time, Byrd was every promoter's dream. However, he could not escape encephalopathy. For nearly 2 years, Byrd endured agonizing, excruciating pain. The public learned about his condition in 2018 when he openly admitted it. This was despite the fact that the legendary boxer retired from professional sports in 2009. Encephalopathy is a form of post-traumatic Parkinson's disease caused by recurrent mild head injuries. Heavyweight legends like Muhammad Ali, Floyd Patterson, Jack Dempsey, and Joe Louis were all too familiar with the condition. But Byrd's case turned out to be far more severe. In an interview, Byrd said, "I'm essentially disabled. It feels like my legs are on fire. The pain was so intense I wanted to cut them off a couple of times. I had to stop myself, but if it would relieve the pain, I'd accept it. I don't box anymore, so I don't need legs. Boxing is a sport that directly impacts your brain. Every time you step into the ring, your brain shakes inside your skull. Boxers make their living taking blows to the head." The former champion underwent several surgeries, none of which significantly improved his condition. Byrd admitted to suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, for which he had to take medications that negatively impacted his mental health. In the same interview, Byrd revealed, "I live near the ocean. One time I went out and thought about jumping in to drown myself. I didn't want to live. Those pills drove me crazy. I often use marijuana. It's how I stay functional. Otherwise, I'd have lost my mind." Many boxers have mental health issues. My 2 brothers, age 55 and 60, both suffer from dementia due to boxing. Everyone has problems. Layman Brewster lost an eye to boxing. James Toney became a complete psychopath. Riddick Bowe is already done. That's the reality of our sport. No one wants to talk about it. After retiring, boxers can't find work, have no education, and are thrown into this vast, cruel world without knowing what to do. Yet Chris Byrd is luckier than many other athletes in similar situations. In September 2020, the legendary boxer managed to ease the impact of his illness and made a sensational announcement. He plans to return to the ring. Currently, Byrd is in good physical and mental shape, maintaining his optimism and hoping for the best. While there are no concrete reports about his return in the media, that hardly matters. What truly matters is that the legendary boxer feels great and remains in high spirits. We wholeheartedly wish him a long and happy life. Gerald McClellan is the protagonist of a story that captivated the world while delivering a powerful message about the negative impact of sports when proper precautions are not taken. On February 25, 1995, the boxing world witnessed one of the most brutal matches in history. The undisputed World Boxing Council middleweight title was on the line, pitting British boxer Nigel Benn against the reigning champion, Gerald McClellan. The bout stirred significant controversy in British society, even prompting calls to ban boxing altogether. What made this tragic story unique was not just its devastating outcome, but the significant elements surrounding it. Much of the blame was placed on Don King, the infamous promoter and con artist of the time. Known for his ability to create stars, King often treated athletes as disposable tools for profit. Muhammad Ali, Larry Holmes, and Mike Tyson were all victims of this exploitation. McClellan, too, came into contact with King and experienced success for a while. However, before this fight, King insisted that McClellan replace his seasoned trainer, Emmanuel Stewart, with Stan Johnson. King was desperate for a victory at any cost, even if it meant jeopardizing the athlete's health, and Johnson fit the bill perfectly. The fight began, and although McClellan didn't manage to knock out his opponent in the first round, he landed such a powerful blow that Benn was sent through the ropes. However, the Brit quickly recovered. The boxers engaged in an intense and violent fight that stunned everyone present. The first 6 rounds followed this pattern, but frustration and desperation began to take a toll on McClellan. He absorbed several heavy blows to the head, paying a steep price for it. Before the 7th round, McClellan asked his trainer to stop the fight, but Johnson ignored him. King, without a doubt, would not have tolerated a surrender in the ring, and McClellan's condition worsened. By the 9th round, McClellan had slowed down considerably. He barely attacked, frequently removed his mouthguard, and blinked in confusion. Both the referee and his corner ignored these alarming signs. Meanwhile, Ben, fueled by adrenaline, began to dominate. In the 10th round, after a series of blows to the back of his head, McClellan dropped to his knees, pointing to the area where he was hit, but he was ignored again. He attempted to rise, but collapsed once more, waiting for the count to end before retreating to his corner. As the crowd erupted in cheers, McClellan began losing consciousness repeatedly. He struggled to see, breathe, and was placed on oxygen before being stretchered out and rushed to the hospital. While still conscious, he kept asking, "Did I get knocked out? Did I quit?" At the hospital, doctors treated a brain hematoma, and Gerald fell into a coma for 11 days. Today, Gerald lives with his sister Lisa, who cares for him. His wife and children abandoned him, but fortunately, there are still generous people in the world. Every year, famous athletes support McClellan and Lisa, as his recovery costs exceed $50,000 annually. This tragic story does not have a happy ending. The only positive takeaway is the lesson it leaves behind. It's heartbreaking that Gerald McClellan fell victim to such adverse circumstances, from his environment to malicious and incompetent individuals. All we can do now is sincerely wish Gerald good health and commend his sister Lisa for her tireless efforts in supporting him every single day. And if you want to know more cases like these, you have to watch this video. See you there.